For the Tangent on Veritas Catholic Network, I'm Father Sam Kachuba with your daily gospel reflection. Today we're reading from Luke chapter 19, verses 45 through 48. And we celebrate today the feast of the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. On the feast of the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, we mark that day that tradition tells us the Blessed Mother was brought by her parents, Saints Joachim and Anne, to the temple in Jerusalem. And there they offered her back to God, this beautiful gift that they had received. So that from her earliest days, Mary, not only by God was preserved from the mark of original sin, but by her very own parents was consecrated to God's service. Well, that's what the temple is, isn't it? The temple is a place consecrated to God's service. In fact, every single church that we ever walk into is consecrated to God's service. And this month, we've celebrated the feast of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica in Rome. And just earlier this week, we celebrated the feast of the dedication of the basilicas of St. Peter and St. Paul in Rome. These places that are set apart for the worship of God, for the service of God. Just so the temple in Jerusalem was set apart for the service of God. And just so the Blessed Mother is set apart for God's service. But we read in the Gospel of Luke today the story of Jesus cleansing the temple, flipping over tables, driving out money changers, telling them that they have made his Father's house a den of thieves, but it will be a house of prayer. Because the Holy of Holies, the temple, that place where God has come to dwell, is meant to always be dedicated to his service. And so on the feast of the presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, it's very fitting that we read this gospel. Mary, who is so perfectly disposed to God's will, intercedes for us and will help us to be consecrated to God. But what is it in our hearts and our lives that needs to be handed over to the Lord? What is it in our hearts and in our lives that has become distorted, that we have forgotten to give over to God's service? Through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, may we turn all of it over to God. May our lives be consecrated entirely to his service, as she is presented in the temple and so consecrated to God's service also.